Hello, and welcome to Fist of Firsts, the podcast where I try and find out what makes the funny people who make us laugh tick. I'm Tim Reed. I'm a TV sitcom writer, and I'll be asking some of our finest comedians and comedy writers a bunch of first-time questions to uncover the pivotal moments in their life, their career, and their creative process. I want to find out how the people who think differently think, so that we can all learn from the method behind their madness and be more creative. In this episode, I'm chatting to comedian, actor, podcaster, radio presenter, vegan and fighting talker, Justin Moorhouse. Justin's genuinely one of the nicest people in comedy. He's an unbelievable stand-up, a prolific podcaster. He's had his own Radio 4 sitcom. Everyone quite likes Justin. But of course, most of us first discovered Justin as the tiger face-painted young Kenny on Phoenix Nights. We chat a bit about Phoenix Nights and a lot about Justin's road into comedy, from being a homeless 20-something to smashing the Comedy Store Awards, right up to his new Edinburgh show, which is where I caught up with him. And do listen to the end, when Justin shares one of the most disgustingly brilliant stories that I've yet had from any Fist of First card. Enjoy. Justin, thank you for taking the time this morning while we're up here in Edinburgh.
We're in Edinburgh, and you described your flat as being just behind the train station.
Yeah.
Literally, it's like platform 12, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's just behind. There's a tree and a chimney in between, but that's it.
Very nice location.
Yeah, it's handy for trains.
Very handy, isn't it?
It's also handy because every train
Have
station...
you driven here?
I have driven here.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Yeah.
So how's it going? This isn't obviously your first Edinburgh.
No, I've been coming to Edinburgh since about the year 2000.
Yeah.
Various things. I've done a couple of sort of like mixed bill shows, and I reckon I've probably done about 10 or 12
Full shows
as well.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you look back on that and you go, that's a body of work.
Yeah, it is.
That's a kind of like chunk of your life.
And how's this year compare?
Well, it's funny really because I'm not comparing them to like the one from 2 years previously or the one from before that. I'm comparing them to the very last performance I did of the last tour show.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
which is difficult because I'd done that show 150 times.
Yeah.
Filmed it and it's out there on YouTube, and I was very pleased with it.
And it was amazing. So this is Stretch and Think, which is on YouTube.
Yeah.
The one that you've filmed at Shakespeare
North, in Prescott. So so very much I come here after previewing the show about 20 times. I've done the material here, there and everywhere and done that, but assembled it over the last month.
Yeah.
And then, it's not the finished article. And that's always a bit of a kind of sort of sticks in the throat a little bit for me because previously I've come to Edinburgh with the show to show off and
all
to kind
finely
of
tuned
to launch yourself or to get yourself noticed or something. But I realise now at 54, people have stopped noticing me.
They've stopped noticing.
But you're not the fresh. You're not the new thing. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I often get people who come to watch me, industry people.
Yeah.
Who come, this sounds so bad because I'm like a safe pair of hands. And I go, no, I want you to come because you want to.
Yeah, because it's exciting and you don't know what you're going to get.
I don't want to feel like a shoe. So,
a shoe for a safe pair of hands.
Yes, perfect, yeah. So I'm quite happy with the show. And you saw it on, Friday night?
Friday night. Very funny.
And Saturday night stepped up to another level.
Did it?
Yeah, and so I'm really happy with the way the show's going. I'm only here till sort of like the first half of the thing, and then I'll do some more work in progress, and it starts on tour in January.
Yeah.
So I've never done it like that before. Normally I sort of finish the Edinburgh Festival and then straight into it September.
Yeah.
But because I only finished touring in May,
I
had a bit of time off just to... I say time off.
I was going to say, you say time off, but you are busy all the time doing your pods and your socials, and you'll be doing plenty of other gigs in the meantime.
Definitely.
Just not touring it, I guess.
Yeah, just not under my own sort of steam.
Yeah.
So it's funny, when you go on tour, people will often say, oh, what's it like being on tour? But it's no different than doing the clubs.
Yeah.
Except your name's on the door and you're getting all the sort of ticket sale, I suppose, is the way to look at it. But I kind of keep really busy all the time. I do a lot of corporate work.
Yeah.
I've started doing a bit of speaking now as well as awards presenting. And
amazing. How are the talks different to the show?
I kind of do like a bit of a keynote.
Yeah.
And I drop all the comedy into it.
Yeah.
But I kind of sort of tell a little life story.
Yeah, yeah.
About, I was homeless when I was younger.
Really?
Yeah, technically I was, I wasn't on the streets, but I was sofa surfing.
Really?
I lived in a car for a while.
While you were a kid?
When I was about 18, 19. Yeah.
Did you?
And then I lived in a caravan on a scrapyard for a while. Yeah.
Did
So,
you?
yeah, it was tough, really. But in the midst of it all, you don't feel like that. You feel like you're having an adventure. And,
Yeah.
And it was fine. And then I've had about 40 jobs. Never found my thing. So that's my kind of angle.
Yeah.
Finding your thing.
Yeah.
And I was 29 when I found my thing. And I thought to myself, gosh, I'm so old to be a comedian. But then you think about somebody like a doctor.
Yeah.
Or somebody's been
And they'll be starting then, yeah.
Somebody could do a 4-year degree, then they'll do a master's, then they'll do a PhD, and they're not even working till they're 30. So I found comedy when I was 29, and so that's my thing.
So that was before young Kenny. So you were doing
About
a bit
the same time.
About the same time.
Yeah, I was really, 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 really lucky.
So how did that happen?
So I was working in parcel sales. I was working for like these companies that, in fact, the world has changed now. They deliver to your house all the time, but then it was business to business. I was doing a lot of that kind of stuff. I was working for TNT and CityLink and people like that. And I always had a really good ability to know when I was about to get sacked.
Yeah. How did the "I'm about to get sacked" antenna work?
Well, you not hit your target for a little bit.
Right, yeah.
They started asking you questions like, where have you been?
Yeah.
What are you doing all day?
That's a clue, yeah. Who are you?
yeah. And so, you always got that kind of thing going on. And I kind of enjoyed that. I mean, I'd have been much better, Tim, doing sort of business development and kind of that kind of look. I didn't like the new business bit. I liked meeting people, getting to know them, developing relationships. But then when I had to ask for a contract, I just didn't like it. I felt a bit,
Why? So is that linked to the reasons you became like homeless or transient or something? Is there something going on there?
No, I'm a people pleaser. That's a thing.
Yeah.
So I was always like, I avoid confrontation. I talk about this in the show about my childhood. I avoid confrontation. I never get to the root cause of anything.
Yeah. And has that always been the case?
Yeah. My family had never discussed anything of any importance.
Yeah.
And my mum doesn't even realise that.
Just the way it was.
Yeah, we never talked about our feelings or.
Yeah.
Whereas I've tried to do that with my kids now. I try and talk about their feelings, and it's probably too much, really. But I've helicopter parented.
Yeah.
I've hovered around all the time.
Yeah.
Perhaps done too much.
Yeah.
He was right, wasn't he, when he said they fuck you up, your mum and dad?
Yeah.
They don't mean to. I mean, and I probably have kind of, I think overall been a positive parent for my children. I hope so. That's, what you want. But, I do avoid, we have rows at home, and, that's the common thing that's thrown back at me is like, it's okay to have a row.
Yeah.
It's okay to somebody to call you out for something.
Yeah.
And then it's okay for you to recognise that fault in yourself.
Yeah.
And to then go, oh, well, what can I do about that? And it's taken me to my 50s.
Yeah, and to be honest, most men, I'm in, man in my 50s, most of the men I know, exactly the same.
Yeah.
We don't like confrontation. We certainly don't like too much self-reflection and then thinking, what did I do wrong? How could I change and be different? It's very difficult. It is
difficult.
If it's not natural to you, it's a very difficult thing to learn to do, actually.
It is. And, and I talk about this, touch upon this in the show, and I'm happy to talk about it. Therapy has helped. But every time I have therapy, I feel guilty for spending the money talking about myself.
Yeah. And I feel self-indulgent. Yeah.
And I play it down and go, it's nothing. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And she'll go, no, you've come here because you're struggling with something.
Yeah.
Let's get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking she thinks she's going to unearth something horrific. And there's nothing like, no one touched me inappropriately. There's nothing like that.
I've got nothing good for you here.
Yeah, I've not got the dirt. Just really misery, a little bit of misery. I spent a lot of my childhood miserable.
Did you?
Like a teenager.
So the other thing you say in the show about childhood, though, is that there are two kinds of kids. You're either funny
Mouthy.
or sporty.
Yeah, I think you're either quick with your fists or quick with your mouth.
Yeah.
Especially where I'm from a place called Hyde, which is kind of very ordinary kind of place, and it's tough. Not in no way at all would you say it's like the Bronx, but then again, it's not Mayfair. It's like most places.
Yeah. So what was the point then when from there, obviously then all the different kinds of jobs, and then what made you then think I'm going to go and try stand-up and talk me through that?
Driving down the street, listening to the radio. I used to listen to GMR all the time.
Yeah.
And there's a comedian being interviewed on GMR, and I thought, he sounds funny. And then I thought, I wonder how you'd be. I literally was like, I wonder how you'd be a comedian. And at that time, I'd been a bit of a kind of fan of going to the Frog and Bucket.
Yeah.
And the Buzz in Charlton.
Yes.
And I was a little bit of a Peter Kay and Johnny Vegas disciple. I used to follow them around and watch them, and I used to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I phoned the Frog and Bucket up, which was in summer of 99. Something like summer of 99. And I said, how'd you become a comedian? And they said, you need to come down to open mic nights and all that. I just started doing it. And I did 3 on the bounce. The first one was amazing. Second one was terrible. And the third one was about all right.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've done 3 now. How do I give up?
Yeah.
How do you say I used to do this?
Yeah.
If you ever speak to comedians and you ask them their sort of origin story in their first performance, there's no one ever says, first one was all right. It was either incredible or it was tragic.
Yeah, I was about to say exactly that, because now, having done this a few times, that's exactly what's happened. Yeah. Is it's either awful and then you feel this need to go and improve and do it right and put it right and rectify that, like get back on the horse. Or it's gone amazing.
Don't talk to me about horses. You see my show.
I know, sorry. It's there in my head now. I'll probably do it loads of times. So getting back on the horse.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did it again. Or it was so good you got the bug.
Yeah.
And you enjoyed the ride. Beat me. So it was... So that's interesting that the first one was amazing. The second one was awful.
Yeah, second one was really cocky.
Why was that? Did you went into cocky and thought, right, I am brilliant at this.
I was chewing gum.
Were you?
That's how cocky it was. Went on stage.
Yeah.
All right. And so then I just came off stage and I felt weird.
Yeah.
Like it'd all gone wrong. Because the week before I thought I was like Billy Connolly.
Yeah.
And the second week I was like, wow. And my mate, one of my best friends, Mike, he'd not been the first week, and loads of people had come the first week.
Yeah.
And he'd gone, I missed it last week, I'm going to come. And he went, mate.
Yeah.
And then the third week he came and I did all right. And then he sort of like, he realised and he encouraged me. And then within, very quickly, within a year, I'd met Peter Kay through Smug Roberts. And everybody knew he was doing this programme.
Yeah.
And every comedian had said, can I have a part in it?
Yeah.
And I genuinely had said, can I have an audition? Because I wanted to know what it was like to have an audition. I thought that was an interesting thing to learn.
Yeah.
So I had that audition. At the same time, I had an audition with Danny Boyle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for 2 parts. And I'll tell you this story. It's quite a funny story. Yeah. So I'd met Danny Boyle and, Toby Haydock?
Yes.
He'd give me a little thing to try and say to him because I said, I don't know anything about him. What do I say? So I realise now that when you go in, he goes, what have you been doing since we last saw you?
Yeah.
And that means since you last did anything or...
Yeah.
And I realised I hadn't done anything. Yeah. So I went, I've been shopping and I was... And he was like looking at me weird and he went, right, before we start this, have you got any questions?
Yeah.
And me and Toby laughed about this and I said to him, Danny, I said, your film, Shallow Grave? I enjoyed it very much. Yeah. He said, thank you. I said, in the burying the bodies and the scene is illuminated by taillights? And he said, yeah. I said, the film Goodfellas?
Yeah.
When they're burying the body and the scene's illuminated by the taillights of the cars? He went, yes. I said, when does homage end and plagiarism begin? And he went, you're a cheeky cunt.
Did he?
Yeah. And then
fucking hell.
And then I auditioned and interviewed for the 2 parts. Yeah. 2 separate films he was making for BBC 2.
Yeah. Can you remember what they were?
Yeah, one was called Vacuuming Naked in Paradise.
Right.
And the other one was called, I can't remember, it was a one-word title.
Yeah.
But I didn't get either part.
Yeah.
And the parts went to Timothy Spall and Christopher Eccleston.
Did it? So both fairly, do
you know what? I hold my hands up.
Yeah.
They'd probably not upset him. I do remember this was like in 2000 and they'd come in and they said to him, and this was, he was obviously a film director, and he actually told me the last person I auditioned before you.
Yeah.
The last person I met, because that's what they never say audition, do they?
Yeah, met. Yeah.
The last person I met for a part was Leo for The Beach.
Oh, really?
Leo.
So you were straight in after Leo.
Straight after Leo.
Yeah, funny.
And then somebody came in and said, "What'd you like for your lunch, Danny?" And he went, could you get me a bacon and avocado? And this was like in 2000. I thought, he's fucking London.
Yeah,
he's not Radcliffe anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I forgot that's where he was from, actually. Yeah.
Very Radcliffe. But he was lovely. I mean, I wish I'd, obviously I wish I got the parts. I think he's incredible, him.
Yeah.
You know, I think
he's amazing. Yeah, he's managed to bridge those two things of still being creative and original and fresh, but commercial and commercially successful. It's not an easy... Those aren't easy two horses to ride, those, are
No,
they?
and is that, I mean, you'll probably tell me better than I'll know, but is that picking the right projects?
I don't know. It must be.
They say that a lot, don't they, about those things?
Yeah.
But actors, it's important, the choices you make.
Yeah.
Because, if you're getting 2 million a film, that's low, isn't it, for a Hollywood superstar?
Yeah.
Then you don't need to do that many films.
No. I suppose it all depends where you're at in your career, doesn't it? Yeah. He can pick and choose.
On a smaller scale, on a much, 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 much smaller scale, I've learned the power of no.
Yeah.
In the last year or so.
Yeah.
Just say no to some things because they're not right.
Yeah.
And you never miss what you've not had.
Yeah, of course.
And something else will always replace it.
Yeah.
And
that takes a real confidence, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a big,
Have you always had that?
No.
Yeah.
I've taken everything on.
Yeah.
I've said yes to everything.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm looking after myself a little bit more,
good.
sort of mentally, physically, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. But you said yes to young Kenny.
Yep.
Way back then. So what's that, about 2000?
2000. We filmed the first one, then 2001. So it's like 20, almost getting on for a quarter of a century ago.
Yeah.
People still ask you, is it coming back? And I say, and I just say no.
Yeah.
I reckon it's fair enough to say no now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Even though you obviously did the live performance briefly.
Did the live performance briefly. He's a very interesting person, Mr. K.
Yeah.
And we got asked to do these live shows, and we all said yes.
Yeah.
So we basically worked for 3 weeks, and we raised £5 million for comic relief, which is an amazing thing.
It is an amazing thing.
And I think he could have easily done that on his own.
Yeah.
But he got us in it, and I think the audiences loved it. And it was a lovely.
I'm sure they did.
It was a really nice finish to it all.
Yeah.
But every single one of us,
yeah,
when we did it, went, we're going to tour this.
Yeah.
We thought, we're just going to get a week in Nottingham, week in Glasgow, we're going to make a few quid.
Yeah.
And then it never happened. And that's been a bit of a disappointment. I wish we'd done that because
that would have,
it was definitely the appetite for it.
Yeah.
But, people are different and they grow and they change and,
Exactly.
we had a laugh doing it.
Yeah. And like you say, some things just, they have their natural time.
Yeah.
So from then, so obviously that was... For somebody who just, I guess before then, still been doing pretty small clubs, small...
Well, I was doing temporary. I'd left the exotic world of parcel distribution systems.
Yeah, that was a brave move.
Yeah, and I'd gone temping. doing admin work.
Yeah.
Because I had to bring in, I knew I had to earn £1,000 every month.
Yeah.
Because those were my bills.
Yeah.
And I had to pay them, and I had a young child.
Yeah.
And a mortgage and everything else.
Yeah.
And, so I had to do that. So I was working in Ashton-under-Lyne for the housing office in the area repair team. Yeah. I was getting all them phone calls like, I've had 2 of your men at my back passage and have left their right mess and all that. So I was taking those phone calls and then...
And material.
Yeah, and then I got the phone call to say that I was in... Peter came phone me himself. You got my part? So
like he's in the room.
So I went into work the next day and I quit.
Yeah, amazing. So that was it.
Yeah, and they said, why are you quitting? I went, I've got a part in a TV show.
Yeah.
And then 6 weeks later, I was unemployed again.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? But did it give the lift into the stand-up career that you needed?
So let me tell you the second bit of serendipity.
Yes.
Okay, so I get the part in Phoenix Nights.
Yeah.
And it's such a lovely thing to be a part of something so beloved. I mean, even a small part, which we all had, and we were definitely an ensemble kind of feel to that show.
Yeah.
So lovely to be in it. So lovely to be doing that with your mates. And the reaction to it is, still, I will never... Yeah. I've interviewed people on Radio Manchester when I've done that, and they've gone, I don't want to talk about my time on Emmerdale. I want to talk about Run for Your Wife at the Bolton Octagon. And I go, why do you think you're here? So I'll always be very, very grateful for it. So during the filming of that, I had reached the final of the City Life Comedian of the Year.
Wow.
Which Johnny had won and Steve Coogan had won and Chris Addison and all these people before me, prestigious competition, which was being held at the recently opened Comedy Store on Deasgate Locks.
Yes.
So I drove down on the night of the final in my G-Reg Sierra gear, nice car, and on Hyde Road at Bellevue, my back window fell out, dropped down. I had to put that back in. So I arrived late. I'd put a black bin liner over the window. I arrived late for the thing, and they went, "Oh, we've done the draw," because when you do competitions, they do a draw to find out your running order. And I said, "Oh, here, I've been stitched up." And they'd put me on first after the break, which is the best spot. So I went on, and I was just dead relaxed because my car had I'd got a part in the TV. And that night, I couldn't have done anything better. Went on, smashed it, loved it. Alan Carr was in the final. A couple of other people, And apparently afterwards, somebody who judged it with Don Ward, the owner, he went, "Well, it's clearly who the winner is. I'll let you decide second and third. I'm going to the bar."
Wow, really?
So it was that kind of, I'd had a great one.
Absolutely smashed it.
Won it, came off stage, met Don and Charlotte, who was working with him at the time, and he said, "Who speaks for you?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Who's your agent?" I said, "I haven't got one." He said, "I'd like to look after you."
Wow.
So he took me on, started booking me at the Comedy Store, got a part in a TV show, won this competition. It couldn't have gone better. But then there's that thing, Tim, where you're getting these chances, but you've got to step up to them, haven't you?
Of course you do.
You've got to be able to, and at first...
it's one thing, them kind of, like you say, being serendipitous or, and
I had
getting
10 good
these
minutes.
opportunities. And
I had 10 good minutes.
I
mean, 10 stretched to 15. And when you're a stand-up comedian, the hardest leap is from 15 to 20. To get a solid 20 is very, very difficult because you need about half an hour to make sure you've got a solid 20. So the next day I get a phone call. There's been a dropout. Can you do the London Comedy Store this weekend? And I'm like, and I had to put them off a couple of times because I wasn't ready. And eventually I did it, and then, I sort of fell into it. And then I just sort of got better and better and better. And love it. And that's 24 years now. And I still love it. I still never wake up and think I've got to go to work.
And how do you, so now having done it for so long, like you said, the big step from 10 to 20 where you need half an hour, and then obviously getting up to an hour, how do you keep coming up with fresh stuff? What's your creative process in terms of coming up with new ideas for shows, new material? How does that work with you?
Normally it's a phrase. So this show's called The Greatest Performance of My Life. Which this show was completely different in its inception. The idea of this show was I was going to backwrite a show based on the lyrics of the Shirley Bassey hit, The Greatest Performance of My Life. And then reveal at the end that everything I said was a falsehood. So I wrote the show once. And the show was everything. Tonight I gave the greatest performance of my life. None of you could tell I was lying. And I wrote this show and it had all these bits in it. And then I just thought, I don't want to do that. I don't, because my comedy is real and it's about me. And it wasn't, that's a theatrical show. That's a different show. That's not stand-up, what I do. So I rewrote it, but I'd already committed to the title, The Greatest Performance of My Life.
Done the photo, done the poster, all of that.
I had.
Really?
Genuinely.
Oh, no. And now you change your mind. That's not what I want to do.
So the show's going to be called The Greatest Performance of My Life, which is nice enough of a title to back reference things.
And it does, having seen it, obviously, I can clearly see where it...
There were elements of that about performance, so the simple idea is that we all perform. And even though I'm a performer, these are the times when I've not been my real self in my real life and that sort of stuff, and everybody else. And then the end of the show, without giving any spoilers
away,
away,
reveal what was the greatest performance of your life.
Is very, very new.
Is it? That's interesting.
It's 6 weeks old. It's
amazing. So is that after you'd been gigging it already?
I was looking for an end, and then something tragic happened. And talking about it now, I'm still coming to terms with how to talk about it on stage. because it's very real.
Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil the show for anybody, but it's about a friend who is really ill, and he's still ill, but he's still with us.
Yeah.
And it's really positive, actually. There's some good stuff coming out of that. And it's sort of like a brush that we've all had in our lives, me and my pals in our 50s. And I talk about it in the show, the WhatsApp group has become lovely and everyone's been friendly. My mate's been up this weekend. And I think this kind of glimpse of what can be the saddest thing in your life, your pals, has really kind of changed all of us. Sounds a bit deep for the podcast. But
well, no, that's fine.
It's true. Can I ask you a question about having watched it?
Yeah, of course.
With a critical eye, because of you're a creator. And, Did you see that coming?
No.
The end? Did you think something sad was coming at the end?
No. Only in as much as... So from having seen a lot of shows recently, only that's often the rhythm of a show these days, is that, you get to... You reveal all the stuff that people relate to and find funny, but you've got everyone going, yeah, this is my life too. I know this. I experience this exactly. And then often what happens is you'll then get to a bit that feels so true and real that it's often quite emotional. So it's something that often happens.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that coming, even though, again, following you on socials and stuff, I knew that was
something that was going on
in your life. So a lot of Justin Moorhouse fans that will come along to the show might know that. No, I didn't see it coming. And the other thing I didn't see coming was the story you tell around it. Again, I'm not going to give anything away. About your role and relationship with what was going on. Yeah. And how that then links back to the theme and the title of the show. Didn't see any of that coming. No,
and I'm pretty okay about doing that in the show, because if that wasn't 100% real, I wouldn't do it.
No, absolutely.
Because often in stand-up, we have amalgam of stories and they become the story, and the truth is somewhere, it's all true, but it's melded to make it. But everything about that story is 1,000,000% true.
Yeah, and that, I think, is clear for a few reasons. That I think you're known for that authentic style. I think that sense of authenticity is clear. It's what you're known for, and it's what you deliver as well. So there's no way that an audience would think that was fabricated or exaggerated.
No.
And the way you deliver it as well, there's no way that's not real.
What I do like is that I soften you up for the big heart story at the end by giving you a mini heart sad story as well.
Yeah, what was that? Remind me.
The one about the vets.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's like a little starter.
Yeah.
You get your starter.
That's where you think, exactly, yeah. That's what you think, I know what he's doing here. He's making us feel sad. And then, fuck me, here we go. Yeah. No, it was...
But this show is building whilst I'm in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
I think I'm on at 20 to 10, and I'm just realising this now. You're going to get a couple of drunks.
Yeah. Aren't you?
The night you were in, there's a guy with a foot on the stage, and he just...
and then another one, his mate, who then said, no, carry on.
Yeah.
Oh man, that just must be...
It's the worst.
It's a moment, isn't it? And I could see...
Do you know what it is, Tim? I'll tell you exactly what it is. In life, I am never alpha male. Never. No. And I'm quite happy being a beta. I'm really happy being a people-pleasing cook. I don't care. I just let life wash over me. And I love what I love, and I enjoy my friends. And I relish the good stuff that I really like. And antagonism and everything else is so, like we discussed earlier, I avoid confrontation. So that's fine. When I'm on stage and I'm a stand-up comedian, I'm alpha. You have to be. I don't have to demonstrate that. I don't have to come across like that. But that's my stage. And this guy put his foot on it. And what you can't see is his face. And he's going, no. And it was a real stag's antlers locked moment. Anyway, but then he comes out, his mate, and he went, we didn't ruin it, did we? I went to go, yes. You fucking did. You fucking ruined that bit.
Well, it might have for you, and I think I said this to you after, but for the audience it didn't.
No, but I lost my temper.
Like part of the show.
But I know I lost my temper. And once you've lost your temper, you've gone. And also, once you show the audience you've lost confidence in yourself a little bit, they lose confidence, and it's a kind of thing. And I'm 25 years in still learning that. So the next night I went on, and there was a little bit of that, and I just went, no. bang, and I changed it. So I walk on now, and the first thing I do is the props. And that's I don't do anything else until I've done the props. So then they like me. Once they've liked me, then I talk to them. And then once you've liked me and I start talking to you, you can't upset me then.
Okay, time for a quick break. And I'm going to do something different this week for your first time challenge. I don't know about you and your TV guilty pleasures, but mine is definitely I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I love it. And of course it kicks off this Sunday, first episode of the new series this Sunday. And have you seen who's going in? So there's Colleen Rooney, who's reputedly, allegedly getting about 5 million for going in. But there's Oti Mabuse, Jane Moore, the loose woman, Danny Jones, Danny McFly, Barry McGuigan, Alan Hansel, Off Corrie. It's going to be good. Hope so, anyway. But I'll be interested to hear your first impressions of episode 1. So I want you to email me your first impressions of this year's series and who you think is going to come first and why. Who's going to win it? Email me, fistoffirsts@gmail.com, and I'll read out all your best answers in next week's episode. Okay, let's get back to it.
Isn't that funny in the creative process, though? So you say 24, 25 years you've been doing it. And so how many hours and nights is that? A lot.
Thousands of shows.
Thousands of shows. And yet you're still fine-tuning.
Making the basic mistake.
Well, no, but making basic improvements as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like, spotting those things. And that's why you've got to be so good, I think, because you're still thinking, no, I don't feel like I've learnt the craft yet. I wonder if that is still related to you thinking you got into it late. Do you know what I mean?
Perhaps.
In your back of your head, you were 29.
Oh, and imposter syndrome. We all have imposter syndrome.
We all do. But I think when you start something, even if it's only in your head that you think you got in late, that imposter syndrome is like
number
squared.
one driver.
Yeah.
Number one thing for me, and this is at the heart of everything I do, is I want to be accepted as a stand-up comedian. I'd like nothing. I like nothing more than when comedians I really like go, yeah, he's good. He continually smashes it. He does this. To have a good reputation in the amongst all them shitheads, the worst kind of people, but they're my people.
Comedians,
To have that respect of those people is the thing. And the thing that drives me is I'm 54, white, middle-aged, straight, cis, heteronormative, boring, middle-aged man. I never want to be that guy. There's loads of us in comedy and they're not improving, they're not changing, they're not innovative, they're poo-pooing ideas. I film every show, I record every show, I listen back to make it better. And some of the guys will say, look at them turning up with the cameras looking for clips. That's where the world is now.
Absolutely.
It's online.
Yeah, and actually we were talking about that just before we started, that you are probably one of the most prolific of the ones that I know and follow, and that's obviously my self-selected slice of comedians, that is really present on socials, digital, sound like granddad, don't I? No, on the online stuff.
Web 2.0.
Yeah. But in doing, all over, so Instagram, but the podcasts as well, you do regular podcasts, you do a very regular social ongoing theme thing with the 3 set that you do on a Monday. You do a Wednesday walk. And so why do you do that? And does that help you keep that imagination going? Does it help you in coming up with new stuff?
Definitely. I could easily do nothing all week and then go and do a gig on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I could earn the sort of living I used to earn when I was a parcel salesman, and I could have a very nice, easy life. But I would be bored. And I just couldn't do that. So, I think I have to keep doing different things. I love doing the podcast. I've been doing the podcast now for about 12 years. So long.
12 years.
Yeah, it's been going on for ages. We're about, and on and off, and about September, we have a 2-week break in a couple of weeks, and then September, episode 300 comes out. And it's morphed, and it's just a diary of my week.
Yeah, and this is 30
It's about 30 minutes, no more than 45.
Yeah.
People say, what's it about?
Yeah.
Well, it's about 30 minutes, no more than 45.
Yeah, brilliant.
And it's just an audio diary of my week. I record myself as I go around.
Yeah.
I've upgraded. I bought myself a microphone now that I use.
Yeah.
So little clips, bits of me on stage, bit of crowd work, and then I top and tail it with me and my daughter discussing the week.
Yeah.
And we have a post bag, and it joins in. And
yeah, lovely.
Dear John, which is a problem page we have.
Yeah.
With a man in Bollington, who's John.
Is it?
He's John. He's a man in Bollington, yes.
Oh, really?
Kerridge John.
Kerridge John?
Yeah.
Oh, I must know him.
Yeah, I'll tell you about him afterwards.
Yeah.
We can't reveal him because he's got a very responsible job.
Has he?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, I kind of do that, and then I just think I'm not getting much telly, and I've done telly. I've had my bits.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm gonna do well, I'm gonna do well online. So I filmed the last show, which we talked about before, stretching thing.
Yeah.
The clips. So I put one clip on about me talking about what they call cotton in Australia. Got like 1 million views.
Yeah.
And suddenly, the more you do, the better you get. And people start turning up because they've seen you online.
Yeah.
I doubled my Instagram followers within 3 weeks by putting clips on.
Really?
Yeah. So that's the way forward. And so now it's
yeah.
a strategy behind that.
Yeah.
To try and get as much as quality. And we're learning. I say we. That's because I work with somebody and, she does a couple of days a week for me.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Podcast Rachel. She's amazing.
Yeah.
But she's been the difference to my career in the last 3 years.
Rachel.
She's called Rachel Fitzgerald. I call her Podcast Rachel.
Yeah.
So you need to collaborate with somebody, I think.
Yeah, to fill the skills you don't have. Of course you do.
Yeah, because I put a clip on. I did one clip and I filmed it above a pub in Oldham. And the comedy in it was funnier than the other clips, but it didn't do well because it didn't look good.
Yeah.
It's got to look good. It's got to sound good. It's got to do everything right. It's got to look professional.
Yeah, and it's also the tags you put on it and
I
there's other ways of
I
I have no idea, but there's other things that I know that you need to do to kind of get the algorithm working for you, basically.
Do you know as well what I think? Sometimes not bland is a negative word, but a kind of an everyman piece of stand up shot and filmed and lit and sounding brilliant will be better than something remarkable off the cuff.
Yeah.
That's filmed badly. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I did this thing the other week. I was doing a preview in Saddleworth at the comedy club there, which is brilliant, off the rails. Rob Riley's one of the best comedy clubs in the world. And woman on front row, what do you do? She writes greeting cards.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah.
She was doing, so I was riffing on that.
Yeah.
And I was making them up. I was going, sorry you're ill. You've got a tumour. Sorry you're ill. I've heard the rumour.
Yeah.
But with some good luck, we'll get rid of the tumour. Do you write that? So everyone was laughing and there was Father's Day cards.
I've seen that. I've seen that bit.
10,000 views.
Yeah, amazing.
Plus we've done about a dog, 500,000 because it's shot nice and everything else. So
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but Tim, it's hard work. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Everything you've got to work hard.
Yeah, of course.
Matthew McConaughey is my guru. And he says, there's 2 lessons I've learned from him. One is 3 things.
Yeah.
Only ever do 3 things.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm working on, that Mercedes wheel.
Yeah.
The 3 sections.
Yeah.
And then work out how much time you spend in an effort compared to how much you're getting.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean necessarily money, but satisfaction as well.
Yeah.
So you make sure those 3 sections are always balanced. And for me, it's stand-up, podcast, and corporates, because that's why I earn some money.
Yeah.
So those are the 3. And then the other thing he always says is, no matter what you do, if you're going to write a poem, if you're going to do a podcast, if you're going to go for a walk, don't half-arse it.
Yeah.
So everything you do, don't half-arse it.
Yeah.
I see so much creativity on the circuit and so much enthusiasm stuff, but people don't follow it through.
Yeah.
You've got to follow it through. And I've spent 20 years not following things through. I know that about myself.
Procrastinating.
Moaning about why, Mick Ferry's got a great line. I don't know if he does it on stage, but he said it in real life. He said, I can't believe I never made it in a band when I was a teenager. I can't believe record companies didn't realise what I was sat in my bedroom thinking about.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's so true of all of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
If it's just in our head, if we've not done the work to get it out.
I've got a story in me. I've got a book in me.
Yeah.
It's not good in you. Get it out.
I did give the exact same advice to anyone talking about writing. It's just it's a bit of a cliche, but the tip is just start writing.
Yeah.
Just don't think about it. Just get started.
Do you know the Jerry Seinfeld advice on that? So Jerry Seinfeld, I've got my 2 bits. So I've got all these bits of advice that I think about all the time. He's got rules for the travelling comedian, which are if you're on the road, pack light, eat right, work tight.
Yeah.
Don't take too much stuff, eat the right food, and don't do too much work.
Yeah,
really
simple.
Works.
Another 3, isn't it?
Don't break the chain. So he has like a Sasco, wall planner.
Yeah.
And every day you write, you put a cross. Don't break the chain. As soon as you start getting 15 days of crosses, you're gamifying the creative process.
That's
and,
really interesting.
Yeah, that's what I've started doing now. I've got a little thing I'm doing at the minute now, whereas I'm writing one-liners. Never written them before.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
And doing it every day?
Yeah, writing. I wrote one today. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
So the way it goes, I complained to my friend. I said, I think sexual innuendo. I said, I think it's terrible. I said, I don't think we should be using sexual innuendo. And he went, come on, it's all tongue-in-cheek. But there's a purity about one-liner jokes.
Yeah, there is.
But there's also there's a finality to it.
Yeah.
Which you don't get when you write stories like I do.
No, yeah.
I mean, you get it when you write a sitcom or a film or a piece.
Yeah.
You submit it and it's filmed and it's done.
And it's done, yeah. You don't get that at all with stand-up, you don't think?
The only time I've done it is when I filmed that special now.
Yeah.
That's done now.
Yeah.
Those jokes, there's no point working on them jokes anymore.
Yeah, done, captured.
Until it's captured, you're always improving.
Yeah.
And it's a bit frustrating, really. You're working hard all the time and not getting anywhere.
Well, what's frustrating often, which you won't get in stand-up, that you do get in writing, is you can work really hard on something, even if it's commissioned and paid for. So, it's a proper job, but someone's paying you to write a script. BBC, want to see where you get to. You finely tune this thing with lots of different input, and then they say no, and no one gets to see it.
Yeah,
so it's like having a sneeze that's coming, but you never get the joy of like releasing it and getting feedback on what a good sneeze it was.
I almost had. What do they call it in Liverpool? Premature ejaculation. It's getting off at Edge Hill.
Is it?
That's what they call a premature. I had that. I wrote a sitcom with my mate Jim Poyser.
Yeah.
And Damon Rochefort, who writes for Corrie. Do you know Damon?
I don't know Damon. I know Jim a bit.
Damon's an amazing guy. Damon is Nomad. I want to give you devotion.
Yeah, really?
Damon backwards Nomad. He's this incredible character, Damon. He writes loads of Corrie. He's done lots of things in his life. He's a very lovely, darling London type, even though he's Welsh. But so the three of us adapted my Radio 4 sitcom. For a BBC pilot. And we did it in the Salford Sitcom Showcase in front of a live audience. We had Maureen Lipman in it. We had all these people in it. Jodie Prenger. It was,
Yeah. This would be what, 2012, 2013?
A bit later.
Was it?
30, 40, something like that.
Yeah.
And worked so hard on it.
Yeah.
And it went down so well on the night. And Jim tells this story of the boss of BBC Comedy at the time. And Jim went, hi. I'm not going to mention his name because I'm spitting feathers about it. Jim says, hi. He said, hi. Oh, I've heard these great things about your thing. So Jim said, we're doing it tonight. He said, yes, of course. This is in the middle of a festival of comedy which he had organised.
Yeah.
And Jim watched him get in a taxi and get his train.
No.
I wasn't watching it.
No.
So we have to go through it, and then you think, and then this is so.
And did you see that before you
told me afterwards.
Did it? Yeah.
So then we end up performing it in, at Dock 10 in Salford.
Yeah.
There's TV studios in there.
Yeah.
Set up for filming sitcoms, but no, they decided to do it in the Philharmonic concert space with this massive tall thing, so the jokes get lost. Filmed it really badly on scaffolding, like it was a National Theatre experimental art house project.
Yeah.
No set properly. It was really rubbish. We did it and it went all right. And then about 3 weeks later, I found out the BBC had used my script to train camera operators, and they'd used all these actors, really good local Manchester actors, to film my sitcom as a pilot.
Yeah. As a training exercise.
Why don't you let me do it? And I've seen it.
Jeez.
And they filmed it on the set of Citizen Khan.
Yeah.
So it's a household set.
Yeah.
And that's been my biggest kind of...
Oh, no, that's...
Yeah.
I
put so much into that.
There's a filthy side to where it's, the creatives are... I mean, I suppose a lot of industries will say this, but we know it. Yeah, in comedy, particularly in TV comedy, I think, the creatives are often completely taken for granted in the process. The process is rigged against the creators, in that they don't take into account, I don't think, the effort and the artistry that goes into stuff that they're going to discard.
But their argument would be is you're getting paid.
Yeah.
But that isn't, as I discussed before, about satisfaction you get from a job isn't just what you're getting paid.
No.
It's
creating something that has a reaction
basically,
that people can see.
I remember hearing a story about really famous, beautiful model, I can't remember who it was, and she didn't smoke. And after every photo shoot, it might have been Naomi Campbell or something like that, and after every photo shoot, she'd look at the negatives and she'd ask for a cigarette. She'd light a cigarette. And if she looked through the negatives, she'd burn the one she didn't want.
Really?
To make sure that they didn't use anything. But they'll say you got paid for it.
That's taking control, isn't it?
Yeah. But they also, very little, you wouldn't believe how little TV comedy is made.
Yeah, compared to what is
written.
Is what is written and pitched.
Yeah.
And by so many people. That's the trouble, isn't it? Is people think because there's more of a proliferation of channels and more outlets for it, there'll be more stuff made. But
less and less is being made, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I think more. That's what I mean by the processes. I think they want to see a lot before they'll decide on one thing.
They're very, very rubbish at saying no.
Yeah, like say no early on. Say no to a one-line idea. You know what that idea is.
Yeah.
If you like the idea and you trust the people who are making it, make it.
Yeah, but if you stop liking it, 10% of the way in, say.
Yeah,
save us all a lot of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're not very. I think they're also frightened sometimes, I think, of saying no and then somebody else saying yes.
Yeah.
It's that old Beatles thing, isn't it?
It is. They hang on. Exactly. Yeah. They don't want to be. No one wants to be Decca.
Can I ask you a question about your process with the Richardsons?
Yeah.
Which is a lovely conceptual idea and possibly quite a hard sell.
Yeah.
Although John well known and everything else, it's kind of. Very unusual show that you did, and really, because I was in it.
Yeah.
And but it was a night.
And back on the telly recently, it was on BBC Two.
But here's the question.
Yeah.
So you made that for Dave.
Yeah.
Was it Dave or Gold?
Dave.
Or UK TV anyway.
Yeah.
So clearly lower budgets.
Yeah.
Harder to get committed. They don't commission a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Must have been a kind of, you went, right, well, we're going to make it. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
We're not going to be skint. We're going to make wages.
Yeah.
But it's not flagship BBC One. How galling is it then that the BBC go, we like this?
We'll have a go of it now.
We'll put it on BBC Two.
Yeah. It was, to be honest, not galling, because by that time, we'd had that creative fulfillment of making it and being proud of it, and the people who'd found it really liked it. And actually, maybe it's the timing thing, because just as it was finishing, so we'd finished, Series 5 had just gone out on UK TV, and I think it was almost like the next week that Series 1 went out on BBC Two.
Yeah.
So in a way, it was...
And on the iPlayer as well.
Is on the iPlayer as well,
so they're available.
So it's going to be available to more people. So in that respect, not galling at all. The thing that was galling originally with that is that the first broadcaster to take it was Channel 4, right, before Dave took it. So Channel 4 liked the idea. They commissioned a pilot. We made a not-for-broadcast pilot. It got to, I think it was between us and Lady Parts.
Yeah.
And they went with Lady Parts, which is a good sitcom. And now the second series is out. It's good.
Second series out. You've done 5 since,
Yeah. So their second series is just out. Yeah, we've made 5. But that was galling that Channel 4 then just decided what seemed fairly arbitrary. You've got to, if you like both these projects,
make both.
Make both. Put one on this year, one on next year. We know how long it takes to make a sitcom. It's 1 year to the next is not going to make any difference in terms of the production process and holding on to stuff. I know we filmed Car Share in 2013. It went out in 2015. So they could have taken both, but they didn't. And that was that, except Dave came in and went, well, we showed it to them and they went, yeah, we'll definitely have this. So it wasn't galling in the end. It was kind of like a second breath. Right, I'm going to end with, two things. I put a bit of a shout out on my socials, which are pretty rubbish, but I did get some back in terms of listener questions for you,
right.
Justin. So I've got 2. This one, first one, from Joanne from Salford. So, and Joanne says, how long did you need to keep the tiger face paint on?
Put it on in the morning, washed off at night.
Yeah.
When I was in Phoenix Nights. Sometimes, like there's one, to tell a story one day, put it on in the morning. I got terrible skin off that,
Did you?
Because it wasn't proper makeup. It was like kids' makeup every day. Yeah. At first, it was a laugh, and then after, then eventually, the first time they put it on, dead easy, dead quick. And the second time they put it on, they have to make sure it's exactly the same.
Yeah, of course.
My favourite thing about that is that people go, what was really great about that is how it faded during the series. And I went, it didn't.
Yeah.
Because we were filming things in episode 5
of course.
in week 2.
Of course.
Yeah, it didn't fade at all. That would have been impossible.
It is funny,
But one day I went in, I was in the opening scene, because we had small parts. I was in the opening scene, and I was in the last scene of the day. And they said, we'll take the face off for you if you want to go home. And at the time, like, we were all tramps. We were going, no, we like hanging around the set. We were getting free food and playing snooker and pool and just having a laugh. So I'd left the tiger face on all day, and then I forgot. And at lunchtime, I went to the Trafford Centre.
How did you really? You'd completely forgotten you got it on?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And the best thing is, it's not like people would go, there's the guy who's the tiger face of his eyes, because he hadn't been out.
No.
They just saw an adult male walking around the Trafford Centre with his face painted like a tiger. So I kept it all day, and you need to wash it off with soap and water, then clean it. But then skin got very dry, and it wasn't very good at looking after my skin. And then when we did the live shows, I had it on for that, obviously. But that came on and off dead quickly. Because I'd have it on in the first section, then I was Meatloaf in the second section.
Of course.
So I had to put the white makeup on in the second section.
So how would for continuity then? How would they keeping it exactly the same? Just lots of pictures and like they didn't put lines on your face.
For TV, photographs, back reference photographs. It was amazing every day.
And the next question, and this is from Anon. They didn't leave their name. This is on Instagram. Where'd you get your glasses from?
Oh, my glasses. I get them from a company called Black Eyewear, and they're in London. I got to London for my glasses.
It's so showbiz.
Yeah, well, basically, do you know there's an actor called Joe Alessi? I don't know if you know him.
I know the name.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
And I was walking down Tottenham Court Road one day, and I bumped into him, and I was having a laugh, and he was with his friend. I remember she was called Dot. And Joe and Dot sound like a couple your mum knew, didn't they? And I said, what have you been doing? He goes, I've just been in the... there's a shop around the corner that sells glasses, like architects' glasses. And he goes, and I love them, and I always go in and look at them. So I thought I'd have a look. So I went round, and it's this tiny little shop in off Tottenham Court Road called Black Eyewear, and it's near what's that lovely road called Charlotte Street?
Yes.
In between Sheffield and Charlotte Street, one of them roads.
Yeah.
I went in and met the bloke, and I love these glasses. And these ones are called Miles. They're all named after different jazz artists.
Are they?
Yeah, so I've got these ones. I've got the same ones in clear.
Yeah.
And then I've recently I bought a different pair of them as well. Before these I had some with the 3 dots on, those kind of ones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but they're really good. I really like them.
They look very posh, don't they? The gold dots.
Where'd you get your glasses from?
Well, these are from Park Lane Opticians in Macclesfield.
Not Park Lane in London.
No. It sounds like it should be, shouldn't it? And being a bald-headed, beardy, middle-aged man, I do go for some of the braver ones. Not quite as big and chunky as yours.
Take this as a compliment, but you have the face of an avatar.
You've
got a logo face.
Yeah. Well, we've both got very easy faces to draw.
You could trademark your face, couldn't you? Yeah.
This is classic. I mean, you have a gag about looking out and seeing it's like the lid taken off the cotton buds. Yeah, I always think you're talking to me when you say that. And last thing, I'd like to end on the last thing that you saw, last new act you saw that you would recommend people going?
Well, it wasn't an act. The last thing I saw yesterday or the day before yesterday, I went to see my daughter's at uni, student, and she's in the student theatre at Glasgow. Things called Stag. And she wasn't in the show, but we went to see the Stag production in Edinburgh of a thing called Lads of the Flies.
Lads of the Flies.
Yes. My daughter and all her friends are very much into contemporary queer Scottish theatre. Everything's got to have the word queer in it. It's so funny. I don't know if you heard the podcast where she was telling about her friends and set up their own theatre company.
No.
It was focusing on supernatural Scottish queer theatre. And I said...
That sounds niche.
I called it the Supernatural. Didn't go down well. I said Scottish ghosts. So Scottish lesbian ghosts are the only ones that literally don't want to put the willies up you. Good joke.
Nice.
Good joke.
Good one to end on.
Yeah. So I went to watch the Stag production of Lads of the Flies. And basically, 4 of the rugby team have been lost in the Scottish Highlands on Duke of Edinburgh.
Yeah.
But the rugby lads are all played by girls. So there's that kind of role reversal thing.
Yeah.
And it's about masculinity.
Yeah.
It was dead funny. funny.
Yeah.
And I was describing on my own podcast today, and with damning it with faint praise by saying, actually, for student theatre, which is sneered upon a lot, it was dead funny, and I was dead proud of them.
Oh,
and I really enjoyed that. But in terms of stand-ups, sort of newish ones, that's kind of a thing.
Yeah. Have you seen any up here?
I saw Dan Taine in a real like, but he's not that new. A new comedian I really like is Jacob Nussey. Jacob Nussey, he's one to watch out for.
And is he playing up here?
I don't think he is this year, but he will be.
Jacob Nussey.
Yeah, they're all the new comedians now are all formulating their debut years.
Yeah.
They come up and do 40 minutes work in progress.
Yeah.
And then the next year they do their debut. It's
a big thing, the debut.
It's like the debutantes, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're coming out.
Is that a bigger thing than it used to be?
Yeah.
People didn't come up to do a debut.
I balls mine up. My first year, I should have come up and done the very best jokes I'd ever done for 5 years, and I'd have smashed it. But I wrote a new show, and it was all right.
Yeah. Was that just the way it was then?
Advice from an agent.
Was it?
Yes. When the business people get in the way of the creative.
Yeah.
What a way to end the pod.
Lovely. Yeah. Brilliant. Justin, thank you so much. That's been amazing.
We're not doing the fist of first.
Oh, well, do you know I was going to right at the beginning, and then we just got well into it.
Never mind.
Do you want to do a card?
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, go on. And so I'm going to do one thing I do at the beginning of each pod is I've got these fist of first cards, and I do a random shuffle and then split the pack. And whatever comes out, we have to see what you've got. Yeah. Is that okay? You ready?
Yeah.
All right. I'll shuffle. You say when.
When.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Right. First time you got really drunk.
1985.
Yes.
15 years old.
Yes.
Did a pub crawl in Hyde.
In Hyde, yeah.
Yeah, where I'm from.
Yeah.
Drank all sorts of different drinks, including Malibu. Was horrendously ill. I can't even put Amber Soler on now because of the smell of it. I go back to my friend Tom Gaskin's house.
Yeah.
Absolutely smashed out my face. Like, too
probably.
ill.
Yeah.
And I go to the toilet and I'm both ends.
Yeah. Oh.
And I'm up there for too long. Oh. Tom sends his mum up.
Oh.
She finds me throwing up and she has to wipe my arse.
Oh. Are you still friends?
So I used to see her all the time. She works in the baker's. And I used to go in and get a cream slice. And she'd go, hello. And this was like long time ago now. This was like, 30 years ago? 40 years. 40 years. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So I saw Tom recently. And he'd asked me to do a fundraiser for a pal of his. Anyway, and I was talking about this night. And he told me a story about that I never knew. He only told me that this recently. He said the next morning, he said, I'm sat there with my dad and I'm having my breakfast and my mum walks in and she went, right, last night, you know what happened? He's like, yeah. She went, I've done it for your dad, I've done it for you, and I've now done it for your mate. It ends here.
Wow.
So she'd wiped his dad's ass, his ass, and now my ass. Yeah, and it ends here.
Wow.
So that was the first time I was ever really, really drunk.
But how lucky to do that in a house where you've got a professional arse wiper.
A professional arse wiper.
She knew what to do.
Yeah, God bless her.
Yeah.
Mrs. G.
Amazing.
Formerly of Silvio's Bakery, the mall in Hyde.
Fabulous. Thank you, mate.
Thanks.
That's brilliant. Cheers.
Would you wipe your son's mate's arse? I know I wouldn't. In case any of them are listening, I really wouldn't. What a woman she is. But apart from learning that Justin's mate's mum's a saint, I thought it was really interesting to hear what Justin was saying about the power of no. It can be one of the toughest things as a creative person of any sort, saying no to an opportunity. And it can take years, decades, to build up the confidence, to know what works for you, what to say yes to, and what opportunities or projects to say no to because they just don't play to your strengths or your ambitions. Justin also talked about constant learning, that even after 25 years of performing, he still films his shows so he can see what he can improve. He's driven by that old friend, Imposter Syndrome. But it shows that you can use that as a real motivation, not let it hold you back, but drive you forward. It's crazy how someone as brilliant as Justin feels the need to keep proving himself. And if you've never seen him live, you need to fix that. He's one of the best in the business, and he's touring all over the place from January through to July 2025. JustinMoorhouse.com for all the details. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow, subscribe, leave a 5-star review. tell your friends, and do subscribe to my email newsletter for exclusive Fist of Firsts news and information on all my talks and training programmes. The link is in my bios. See you next time. Thanks for listening.